the structure of postgraduate diploma projects, master's dissertation, and the PhD thesis. The structure can be used for the postgraduate diploma, the MSc dissertation, and also the PhD thesis. The first page, the first few pages are for preliminary pages. And now you have the title page, the certification page, the approval page, the declaration page, dedication, acknowledgements, abstracts, the table of contents, the list of tables, the list of figures, the list of appendices, the list of abbreviations. All these are the appendices, they are the preliminary pages. I start from number 1, which is the title page. The title page contains the project title, student's name, matriculation or registration number, the department, faculty, and institution, that's university, polytechnic, college of education, degree programs, and the date of submission. Now, the example we have here, event operations management, event operation management, so next is the certification page. This page confirms that the work was carried out by the students under supervision and has been approved external examiners or other authorized officers. And next is the approval page. This shows that the project dissertation or thesis has been examined. This shows that the project dissertation or thesis have been examined and approved as meeting the requirements of the award of the degree. Now, it all depends on the institution, but it would be nice you get the guidelines from your own institution. Next, we have the declaration page. This declaration stage refers to the content there should be the student declare that the work is original and has not been submitted elsewhere for another degree or qualification. So it means that you need to avoid plagiarized work. Don't just take the project of someone from another school and copy for yourself. Next is dedication page, a brief page where the student dedicates the work to God, parents, family, mentor, or any special person. So next is the acknowledgement. The section appreciates the supervisor first, followed by the lecturers in the department. It should be nice. You include all the lecturers in the department, those in the main lecturers, and if there is any elective, it is very, very good that you acknowledge them. And also the panels that usually sit for your presentation at any time. It is good that you make sure that you acknowledge them. Then we have the institution, that's the university, or the university where, or the tertiary institution where you belong. Then after you have done that, you also acknowledge your family members. Then the respondents, if you use quantitative, if it's qualitative, those who have participated in the course of your work. Then others who supported your work in any way. So then we have the abstract, a brief summary of the entire study. It usually includes the background, problems, objective, methodology, population of sample, data analysis, method, major findings, conclusion, and recommendations. Now, it is very important that you take note of this Now, for projects, that's PhD projects, between 150 to 250 or 300 as the case may be. And for MSc dissertation, 300 or thereabouts. Then for PhD, it's between 300 and 500 words. And it also depends on your institution. Then we now look at the table of content. For your table of content, it would be nice you make use of the star on the Microsoft Word so that it will automatically arrange your content without any issue. Then after that, you include the subheadings, the page numbers, then the list of tables. This list of tables used in the work and other page numbers. So the list of tables must be included. Then the list of figures. This list of diagram, diagram, charts, models, and conceptual frameworks used in the study. All these ones, they are under the list of figures. Then you have the list of appendices. Now, this list all attached supporting documents at the end of the work. Then you now have the list of abbreviations. The list of abbreviations, that's the acronyms you have used. You don't use SME or CBN or MGX or you need to define them. Example here, we have the SME. So small and medium scale enterprises. The CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria. The NGX, Nigerian Exchange Limited, and so on and so forth. Then we now go to chapter 1. Your chapter 1 starts with introduction as the heading. After you have written your chapter 1, the next thing you write below is introduction. Then your 1.1, that's the background to the study. In the background of the study, you introduce the broad subject area, using the global context, the African context, the Nigerian context, and if your work is centered on the southwest region, is the eastern region, the northern region, whatever it may be, you make sure that you include that in your background to the study. The context of the research, it moves from general issues to the specific problem being studied. Then immediately you finish your background to the study. That's the background. It's very important. Then you now go to the statement of the problem. Now, I need to stress this. You don't have an objective without the problem statement. And at times, it is the problem statement that's supposed to create the title of the work. So you start from the problem before you have the title, before you now have your background. So you take note of that as you do your work. Now, the same of the problem explains the gap. And mind you, before you can even get, the moment you have the problem, the next thing for you to do is to download articles. The articles on Google Scholars, on Scopus, Science Direct, Web of Science, so that you'll be able to read and map out all the journals so that it will be very easy for you to be able to see the gap. That is when we talk about the difficulties, the contradictions, or the unresolved issues that make the study necessary. And that is what you have in the statement of the problem. So this statement of the problem is so important because this is what will generate the best title for you. And it's from the statement of the problem you'll be able to also see, you'll be able to see the objective. And the first thing you need to do is to get a number of articles, research articles. And for projects, you can use between 60 and 80. For MSc, you can use between 80 and 100. And for PhD, you can use 120, 200, and as the case may be. And you need to also make sure that you take note of the important aspects of your work. Then we now go to, after looking at that, we look at the aim of the study. The aim of the study is very important. It's just a sentence. That's the broad aim. That's the purpose of the study. Then followed by the objective of the study. Objective of the study must be specific. You don't use to understand. You don't use to know. You don't use any other the content that will not make you to understand all these concepts. Then followed by the research question. Now take note for your objective. If your objective has to do with comparing two things together, you have to do hypothesis. This is very, very important. The hypothesis will be necessary. Then you now have your research questions. Then immediately you have your objective, you have the hypothesis. Then next to that, the significance of the study. Some schools use justification, which is important for the work, but you use significance. Then you now talk about the scope of the study. For project, the scope may be limited to a company, limited to a local government, or limited to a metropolis. Then we will now have the limitation of the study. After that, we have the operational definition of terms and the organization of the study. So this forms this is the conclusion of the preliminary and chapter 1. In the next class, we go to the next aspect. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir.
On YouTube. That's why I didn't want to come back. Okay.
Are you done?
Yes.
When I saw you scrolling up and down, so that's let me just ask you decide. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How was class, sir?
I'm fine.
So actually, let me start from this. I called the commissioner and then I told